Omarosé Onée Manigault Newman, born February 5, 1974, often referred to mononymously as Omarosa, is an American former reality television show participant and former political aide in the White House. She was the director of communications for the Office of Public Liaison for the Trump administration and was forced to leave the White House before her resignation planned for January 20, 2018. Born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, Manigault received a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism from Central State University. Manigault was a contestant on the first season of Donald Trump's original American version of The Apprentice. 3. She later returned for the television series sequel, Celebrity Apprentice, and appeared on numerous other reality television shows. TV Guide included her in their 2013 list of the 60 nastiest TV villains of all time. Omarosé Onée Manigault was born in Youngstown, Ohio, the daughter of Teresa Marie, née Walker, and Jack Thomas Manigault Sr. Manigault's father was murdered when she was 7 years old. After graduating from the Rayan School in Youngstown, she earned a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism in 1996 at Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. She later moved to Washington, D.C., to attend Howard University, where she earned a master's degree and worked toward a doctorate in communications, but she did not finish. Manigault has also received biblical studies training at Payne Theological Seminary in Wilberforce, Ohio. In the 1990s, Manigault worked in the office of Vice President Al Gore during the Clinton administration. Manigault claimed that her title was initially Special Assistant of Logistics and that she later served as Deputy Associate Director of Presidential Personnel. However, according to an anonymous Corps staffer cited by People, her title was actually Scheduling Correspondent. Manigault, who was 23 at the time, later stated the job had been a very difficult environment, because they don't believe in training. They just kind of throw you in the fire. She was later transferred to the Commerce Department via the White House Personnel Office. Manigault first came to public attention in 2004 after becoming a participant on NBC's reality television series, The Apprentice, starring business mogul and current president, Donald Trump. Stemming from her controversial, blindsiding, alienating, and acrimonious tactics of gameplay on The Apprentice, particularly in its boardroom segments, she soon became the woman America loved to hate and was named by E! as reality TV's #1 bad girl. Manigault has disagreed with the villain label, rather believing herself to be a shrewd businesswoman, asserting that when a male takes on such characteristics, it is always seen as strong, but when a woman takes them on, it is seen negatively. Manigault has also claimed the show's producers have manipulated footage of her to make her look like the villain. In January 2008, Manigault was invited to the first season of The Apprentice's sequel show, Celebrity Apprentice. She became the only former Apprentice participant to be invited back to the series. On Celebrity Apprentice, she quickly became embroiled in a personal feud with Piers Morgan. She was eventually fired in the 10th episode, after serving as the project manager of the team that, according to Trump, suffered the biggest slaughter in the history of The Apprentice in a challenge to sell artwork against a team led by Morgan. She raised $49,000 in total for her charity. In June 2010, Manigault and Trump collaborated again to create a new dating show called The Ultimate Merger, in which 12 men competed for Manigault's affections. The show aired on TV1. In February 2013, Manigault returned to television and The Apprentice, appearing on Trump's All-Star Celebrity Apprentice. Manigault quickly marshaled her team to an early victory on the show, winning a task involving the creation of a photo booth at Universal Orlando. In a later episode, Lil Jon's team was brought back to the boardroom after they lost. Piers Morgan remarked, "My argument against you has always been that you're not a celebrity. And you don't have star power." Which led to a heated argument that resulted in Trump firing Manigault. On Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, when asked by Jimmy Fallon whether or not she felt the show set her up by having Piers Morgan act as one of the judges, Manigault answered, "I felt like I was competing against Piers, as well as the other contestants." Manigault also noted that when she sees Morgan's show cancelled in a year, it will be the best revenge. On The Oprah Winfrey Show, Manigault accused fellow Apprentice participant Erika Vetrini of calling her the N-word, a claim Vetrini has denied. Shortly after that appearance, Manigault failed to show up for a scheduled appearance on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show after she reportedly objected upon seeing a polygraph machine. Following her stint on Celebrity Apprentice, All Stars, Manigault lashed out at LaToya Jackson over Jackson's remarks that insinuated that Manigault had murdered her fiancé, Michael Clark Duncan. Jackson made the remarks in Celebrity Apprentice confessionals and in following media interviews. Manigault said, "I've been in reality TV for a very long time, And I think that those were probably some of the most disgusting, despicable statements I've ever heard. And it will go down as some of the ugliest comments ever spoken on reality TV, but I have an incredible legal team who I've handed it all over to, and I'm sure they will handle her accordingly. During the Republican National Convention in July 2016, Manigault announced that she had been named Director of African American Outreach for Donald Trump's presidential campaign. In September 2016, she said in an interview with Frontline, "Every critic, every detractor, will have to bow down to President Trump. It's everyone who's ever doubted Donald, whoever disagreed, whoever challenged him. It is the ultimate revenge to become the most powerful man in the universe." Shortly after Donald Trump won the election, Manigault stated that Donald Trump has an enemies list of Republicans who voted against him in the presidential election. In December 2016, Manigault was announced as one of the 9 members to President-elect Donald Trump's transition team. In December 2016, Manigault accompanied former NFL stars Ray Lewis and Jim Brown to meet with President-elect Trump at Trump Tower. On January 3, 2017, it was reported that Manigault would join Trump's White House staff, focusing on public engagement. Her specific title was made public the next day as Assistant to the President and Director of Communications for the Office of Public Liaison. In her first interview after being named to the Trump White House, she told Megyn Kelly that she was a Trumplican and had switched her political affiliation to the Republican Party. She hopes more African Americans will follow her lead and do the same, given how she believes Democrats take African American voters for granted, making empty promises to them. In June 2017, Manigault signed an invitation for the Congressional Black Caucus, CBC, to visit the White House as the Honorable Omarosé Manigault. The use of the style "the Honorable," which is not usually given to political aides or used by the person styled as such to refer to him or herself, was off-putting to some members of the CBC. The CBC ultimately declined the invitation. In August 2017, Manigault was on a panel about losing loved ones to violence at National Association of Black Journalists Convention in New Orleans. She got into a shouting match with moderator and fellow panelist Ed Gordon because his questions to her focused on Trump's policies and not her personal history with losing family members to violence. On December 13, 2017, the resignation of Manigault Newman was announced from the White House, effective January 20, 2018. The United States Secret Service denied reports that Manigault Newman had been forcibly removed from the White House grounds on December 12, but confirmed that her access pass had been deactivated, and that she is not expected to return to work. CNN White House correspondent April Ryan reported that White House Chief of Staff John F. Kelly fired Manigault Newman,